Hey guys, so this video is going to be about perpetrators who believe that they're the good guys, right? Um, we know that not all perpetrators are the same. Some are probably forced into this, and this is not about them. We know that all or most are lied to in order to get them to go along with this type of thing. The issue, though, is that it shouldn't take very long for those with an iota of common sense to be able to see that what they're being asked to do to the targets is wrong. Okay, that they're not working for the good guys. It shouldn't take very long to figure that out. You know, some people, they do this because it's a game to them. They know that they're involved in hurting other people, innocent people, and they don't care. They're enjoying themselves. But other people do this under the illusion that they are the good guys, right? These are the community patrol groups and, you know, the vigilante groups who believe that they're going out there to catch a real threat. No, no. Because after a while, they might believe that at first, okay? At first, because their horrific lies are told to them about the target, right? There's fake profiles, you know, the target is profiled, or there are fake reports set up. You know, the target is set up to look like he committed a crime, or she, when he or she did not. So it looks bad initially, but after a while, you know, it should not take long for these people to become aware that they're involved in something bad. You know, what they're being asked to do to the target cannot be good. In the end, they're no better than the psychopaths who do this for fun, right? They continue doing this even when they realize that what they're doing is wrong, that they're involved in something bad. They do it maybe because they're afraid of becoming targeted themselves. Okay, but you know what? They enjoy doing it. They do it because they enjoy it. So I'm just going to read what I wrote here. I wrote some things down, not everything. I might interject with some other things that I didn't write down. Many people, if not all people, are lied to about the targeted individual, and based on those lies, have no problem joining in a vigilante-style attack against him or her. But in the end, what it all comes down to is that they do it because they enjoy doing it. The demonization of the target provides an excuse for the less evolved among the people to gather together in an attack against a common and created enemy. They enjoy the group bonding, the inclusion by way of exclusion, meaning they've been accepted into a group that has rejected someone else. It makes them feel special. And of course, they enjoy the exhilaration of the hunt and the illusion of a real battle, knowing deep down that while they can wage an endless attack on their target, the poor guy or gal can't do a damn thing to fight back. These cowardly predators, meaning the perpetrators, attack from their safe space, the easiest targets they can find. And then, to add to the pathetic nature of this beast, they have their prey outnumbered, outgeared, out-resourced, and surveilled 24/7. So that when he or she does finally begin to break down, it is caught on video and used as further evidence of his or her volatile nature. Or it's used to falsely show that the target is mentally ill. It's a setup. The perpetrators provoke, then report. And yet they believe that they're the good guys. And plus, because they have the target outnumbered, outgeared, out-resourced, even when the target does begin to swing back, they don't really believe that the target could hurt them, right? They might expect random, average, innocent, you know, people to become injured when the target finally snaps. But the psychopaths doing this, they don't think they're ever going to be harmed because they don't believe that, you know, they're in a group and the target's alone. They don't believe that the target can ever do anything to them. They create in their mind an illusion of a threat that deep down they know is not really a threat, or deep down they believe is not really a threat. That way they can enjoy the exhilaration of the hunt, but knowing, you know, in reality that they're not in any real danger. This is the pathetic nature of the perpetrators. How is it that these psychopaths can still delude themselves into believing that they're the good guys? Considering what they're asked to do to the target, you'd think that at some point they would begin to question the orders they are given. You know, something like, if the point is to monitor and stop a potential threat, isn't it counterproductive to intentionally try to provoke him or her? Or maybe ask something like, if we're supposed to catch a real bad guy in the act, then what is the purpose of telling us to set him up so that he can look guilty so that he looks guilty when he isn't guilty, you know, for crimes he didn't commit? or to provoke him just so that his response can be used against him, right? Isn't the point to catch an actual bad guy committing an actual crime? If you have to set someone up, that's not what's happening, is it? This is common sense, folks. You'd think that these people would start asking themselves these questions, but they don't, because they want to lie to themselves to justify themselves. They have to lie to themselves to justify themselves. What they've done, what they're doing, and what they plan on continuing to do because they're too cowardly to stop. And because they enjoy it. In the end, they spend their entire pathetic lives chasing the easiest prey they can find, people who were never a real threat to begin with, though after years of this type of attack, anybody is going to start breaking down. What these monsters won't do is go after any real threat or anyone that they believe can fight back. So what the hell good are they? Consider the nature of some of the actions that these idiotic lackeys, the perpetrators, I call them lackeys, are told to engage in. First of all, noise harassment. I'm gonna speak a little faster because I don't want this video to be too long. They're told to pound the walls, the floor, which is the target ceiling, or engage in other disruptive activity on and off for days, weeks, and even years. This is meant to wear the target down, run him out of the building or her, and even drive him insane, especially when, as in my case, it's a light thumping on and off for days and weeks at a time. Though for me, they've had to change to this quieter, though mind-numbing tactic because I started recording the louder noises they used to make. They still do engage in the louder pounding and tapping, and sometimes drilling too, but not to the extent that they used to. Plus, in this building, they can't drill as loudly and as often as they did in the other building. The thumping, though, is so quiet that it's hard to capture, and I have yet to properly record it. Even today, I wrote this out a few days ago, but even, even a few days ago, when they were pounding, tapping, and thumping, I got the tapping or the pounding, but not the thumping. And yesterday, I had a conversation. I actually called and reported more pounding because they were pounding again yesterday, and a few days before that, there was that leak in our ceiling, and it was in an area where there was no plumbing, so it was weird. It was right in the hallway, right? It was weird. So the manager called me back, and she was nice, but she lied, right? She made some excuse about how the toilet flooded and leaked all the way into the hallway, but there was no leak anywhere else in the apartment. It flooded right in the hallway and leaked down into the hallway. And as for the pounding, she said, well, I should report them. I should call when it's happening, but I have done that, and it doesn't stop. I've called many times. It doesn't stop. And the thing is, and then I told her, well, it's on and off. It doesn't last. It'll happen, they'll be pounding or tapping for a few seconds, and then it'll stop for a few hours and then start again. So in order to capture it, I have to record literally 24/7. I need a device to do that. I'm running out of batteries here. I've got a little handheld recorder now that's pretty good. It's only an audio recorder, but I used that to record last night, and it did record for a good 8 hours. So, but the point is, and then she said, well, record it and play it back for us. And I said, okay, now do you want to hear the recordings that I already have? Because I have audio and video, and with the video, there's a time and date stamp on it, And she didn't answer. She didn't want to hear or see the videos that I already have. So she just assumes I'm not going to be able to capture the evidence. Anyway, and two, because, at night they'll pound, they'll thump, and then they'll stop. Well, by the time I call someone, no, there's not going to be any noise. And I can't just get up and record it, By the time I get my camera, even if I'm sleeping with my camera next to me, I press record, it's done. So yeah, I'm going to start recording 24/7 now. Well, if I can, right, with my voice recorder. Moving on. Attempts to set the target up for false mental illness diagnosis. They have numerous ways in which they can set the target up to appear mentally ill. One manner is that they'll whisper something under their breath while looking right at the target. The target might catch a snippet of what was said, and will then ask the person to repeat himself or herself, at which point the perpetrator will lie and deny saying anything at all. This has happened to me a few times. So not only are these pieces of shit pathological liars, they're also trying to lead to a false mental illness diagnosis for the target. Why? Because hearing things and seeing things that aren't there or that aren't audible to other people is a sign of schizophrenia and other paranoid delusional disorders. So they're doing something and denying it. That's gaslighting, but it's also a deceptive manner in which they try to have the target set up for mental health diagnosis and thus discredited that way. Another method they use is to follow the target around, make it known to him or her that he is being followed. They'll look at the target, then back at their cell phone, then back at the target, with a concerned and even angry expression on their face, though they'll never tell the target what is taking place. Okay, they'll never tell the target what the accusations are, so he never is given a chance to defend himself. Which means the lies stand. These are your community watch groups, folks. Are they really better than the police? They lie. And once again, it is made to look like the target is simply imagining it. Because they lie, they deny anything's happening at all. Okay, again, and they don't consider, do they, how it's meant how the target is going to be perceived when they do this? At this point, a mental health diagnosis is an accusation given what people can use if they're what people can lose if they're diagnosed with a mental health illness, with a mental disorder. First of all, they'll be discredited, and therefore their abusers can continue attacking them indefinitely, because no one's going to believe them. They'll all think it's delusion. Second of all, they'll lose their own right to defend themselves. Third, the community will be put on, on notice that there's something wrong with them. The community then treats them differently, and they start responding to hostility with hostility. It's a setup. Even though some of the perpetrators probably aren't trying to set the target up as a mental case, this is exactly what they achieve, and they know it. When they deny what is actually taking place and understand that the target will be called delusional for pointing out what is taking place, they make a choice to go along with the setup of the target. And two, sometimes they'll be told to make certain gestures, and then they'll deny doing that as well, even as they're doing it. Right? So the target ends up being called mentally ill or delusional for reporting something that is actually happening, and they know it's happening because they're doing it. But they think they're the good guys, right? This is sick. It's perverse how easily people delude themselves into going along with something evil. But this isn't new, is it? The masses have always done this. Right? And the perpetrators, they just do it anyway. Right? Again, and I'm going to repeat this. Once the target is labeled with a mental illness, especially a delusional disorder, nothing he or she says will be taken seriously. The abusers can thus abuse with impunity. Also, this is quite a convenient excuse for crooked individuals who want to hide their own crimes or wrongdoings simply by writing it off as someone else's delusion. In my opinion, this should be an offense worthy of corporal punishment. This method of warfare has been used in the past by dictators who wanted to take over. It was how they silenced opposition. They deemed opposition mentally ill, and thus discredited them that way, and in some cases they even had them institutionalized. This should never be allowed in modern society, certainly not in America. Next, perpetrators are told to lie, and not only do they not hire bright people to do this, they hire immoral people, right? And, aside from the people who are being forced into this, I know some are being forced and they're probably okay people, but the truth is most of them are immoral, maybe even amoral. Okay, they have no problem with lying and lying and lying and setting people up and destroying people's lives. So here's an example of the lying. For example, okay, one day I walked out of, there was pounding coming from the ceiling again, and I walked out of the apartment and could hear the pounding coming from inside the apartment. That's how loud it was. It was coming from the floor above. It was still louder in the apartment, but it could be heard outside too, especially with the door open. A young woman who works here was sitting on a chair in the hallway, and I asked her if she could hear it. She looked at her cell phone, read something, smirked a little, grinned, and then in a dismissive, almost coy tone, she said, "No." When I told her that I recorded it and could play it back for her, or even asked her, if she wanted to listen to it, it's happening right now, she looked at her phone again and walked off. Though the caretaker for the woman next door, she heard it, and she had even come out of her apartment to, because she wasn't sure where it was coming from. She thought it might be us because the noise was so loud coming from our apartment. And that happened in the old apartment too. Before we moved here, there was a lot of drilling back then, and it was going on all day, for days on end. Someone actually knocked on our door because they thought it was coming from our apartment. That's how loud it was in our apartment. Next. They make comments to and around the target. Some of those comments are outright nasty, but that's unusual, and typically only happens when they can add the whisper factor, meaning they say it so quietly under their breath that the target could barely pick it up, and it's even less likely that audio, unless they have a very good recorder, that anything would actually pick it up, right? Because obviously they don't want to give the target evidence. But sometimes they're told to put on skits or recite certain lines out loud so that the target can hear. These comments usually seem harmless to bystanders, but are meant to be threatening or discomforting to the target. So, for example, they might make comments about a certain food combination and then make a joke about slipping in the shower. So why is this meant to upset the target? Because the target slipped in the shower that morning and also ate that very same food combination. It's meant to show the target that he or she is being watched in private. Though some of the perpetrators or lackeys might be unaware of the meaning behind what they're told to say, you'd think that after a while they'd begin to see how much distress they're causing others and wonder if maybe they're doing something wrong. But they're so stupid they don't understand action, reaction, cause and effect, or self-fulfilled expectation. Okay, remember, they're set to provoke. And once they do that, they take the negative response of the target as proof that there's something wrong with the target. Right? They're not chosen for their intelligence. And plus, they don't give a damn. They don't give a damn. They're enjoying themselves and the power they have over other human beings. Okay, they're enjoying the group camaraderie against another human being. This, all of it, leads to the target being classified as mentally ill for complaining about something that is actually taking place. The perpetrators deny everything and even actively hide evidence. They're setting the target up for a lifetime of abuse, because then he or she can't do anything. You can't even report it to the cops, because if it's already marked down that you're delusional, it's just going to be taken as more delusion. They're not going to help the person. This is what the perpetrators are leading to. But they think they're the good guys. Yet next, using a different and unreasonable. Okay, unreasonable is the key word here. Okay, it's not always wrong to judge people by a different standard. Sometimes the situation is different. The key word here is unreasonable. Okay, using a different and unreasonable standard of judgment when it comes to the target, to such an extent that it leads to the target being treated with a disproportionate and hypocritical level of condemnation, chastised for behaviors that are overlooked in others, and even penalized or punished in some manner for behavior that others were not even called out for. Next, illegally entering the target's home and moving things around or leaving a window open for the person to find. This is meant to frighten the target, as even his or her home is being invaded, and so he really has no safe place to go. Yet this is done in a manner that makes it hard to prove. It makes it hard to prove that anyone is doing anything, and it's hard to tell law enforcement. Right? How do you tell a police officer that someone illegally entered your home, opened a window, and then left without stealing anything? Or worse, took the toilet paper roll off the roller and placed it on the sink counter. And that's it, right? It sounds crazy, and it's meant to. The target becomes aware that someone is hunting him or her and screwing with him or her, and even has the liberty of entering his or her home, has full control over this person. But he or she can't tell anyone without sounding insane. Imagine what that must be like. I mean, this is the most sick, perverse, depraved form of attack. These people aren't just immoral, they are amoral. Right? Next, placing illegal surveillance in a person's home. If someone with authority tells these idiots that there's nothing wrong with this, and that it's for the betterment of the community, you'd think that they would at least understand what's wrong with sitting around and watching other unwilling individuals in their own home, even in the bathroom. Watching it like it's a friggin' sitcom and enjoying it like it's just a night of entertainment. And believe me, I hate to say it, I'm gonna get a lot of downvotes for this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It isn't just the fascists and the would-be dictators who engage in this type of behavior. There are plenty of people on the other side who also do this and take great pleasure in it at that. There's always some excuse, some lie they tell themselves in order to justify this forced penetration into the lives of others who have not consented to any of this. I haven't. I don't consent to any of this. Neither have any of the targets, male or female. Regardless of race, religion, none of us have consented to this. Anyone who believes that they have the right to completely take over someone else's life and even watch that person in private spaces where he or she should have a reasonable expectation of privacy, such as in the bathroom, is as bad, and if not worse than, the most extreme fascists they claim to stand against. Sadly, they will always find some justification to impose themselves on other unwilling individuals, to force their way into the lives and bedrooms and bathrooms of other people, and enjoy every bit of it, deluding themselves into believing that they're not doing anything wrong and denying even to themselves any harm in their actions. So tell me, to the perpetrators who believe that they're the good guys, what must you tell yourself to live in a state of constant denial, to lie to yourself over and over again in order to justify what you're doing to other human beings and to deny, even to yourself and to your buddies, all the harm in your actions? Truth is, after a while, you must wake up and realize that you are the bad guys, the perverse psychopaths who have committed a horrific crime against others and are still engaging in it. It's just that you don't care. You enjoy the power this gives you over the lives of others. You enjoy having the authority to watch someone in the bedroom or bathroom, knowing that they are unwilling, would never consent to, or would never want or consent to this, yet there's nothing they can do to stop it. You enjoy this. You are able to watch every move they make, hear every breath they take, even ogle them and mock them with your buddies as they wipe their ass, meaning not even their body belongs to them, as you have gotten access to that which you on a moral level have no right to. And even on a legal level, you've lied to yourself to justify doing this. Somehow, you've deluded yourself into believing that you have every right to violate another human being on every level, to the point where you have taken everything from them and made it yours, even their body, and that they should have no problem with this. So tell me, how are you better than those fascists you claim to stand against, as you claim to stand for human rights? You know, targeted individuals are being denied one very important right, their constitutional right to a defense. You join in these vigilante mobs to go after someone that you heard did something bad, but you never let them tell their side. How about our rights? Sadly, people from all groups join in this perverse Zersetzung COINTELPRO style attack. Those from the left and the right, male and female, all races, all religions. But this isn't new. It's always been this way. No matter how evil a movement, the masses always go along with it. As long as someone with power tells them that it's okay and the majority of their community members join in, there is no low they won't stoop to as a group or individually, while deluding themselves into believing that they're doing the right thing. But the bright side, there's always a resistance. A small group of brave, noble men and women who walk away from the herd and stand up against injustice, regardless of what the masses are doing. Pity they're so few in number, and pity a lot of them are being destroyed right now. I've been a human rights activist all my life, but now every moment of my life is occupied with this Zersetzung COINTELPRO style attack. And that's probably why it's human rights activists, it's constitutionalists, it's whistleblowers who are attacked in this way, to occupy us to the point where we have no time or energy to do anything else, to stand up for any other movement or any other, or for justice, even on any other level, because we're too busy fighting this. Well, I'm gonna try to do everything. I am. All of my time has been dedicated to this, and I'm not gonna stop fighting against what we nowadays call organized stalking, or modern day Zersetzung. But I am also going to start making more videos about justice and human rights and animal rights. And obviously I can't join any groups. The perpetrators will follow, they'll infiltrate, they'll create chaos from within, they'll even start attacking other group members. But I can make the videos. That's what I can do. That's all I can do. That's what I'll do. Peace.